In C#, we often declare properties as either read-write, read-only, or write-only. For read-only properties, their values must be set when the object is created, which is done in the constructor. A read-only property is considered immutable, which means it cannot be changed once the object is created. In the player class, we have a property called isCaptain, which is a read-only property and cannot be changed once set. One disadvantage of this read-only property is that we have to define a constructor and provide a boolean value during object creation to set the value for isCaptain. Another disadvantage is that we don't perform any validation or extra processing on the assigned value for isCaptain, unlike properties with a set accessor. However, by using an init-only property, we can avoid these disadvantages altogether. Hello guys, welcome back. As we mentioned, we have a read-only property called isCaptain. Let's navigate to the player class and create multiple players. Assume each team has 5 players, and one of them is designated as the captain. Okay, as you can see, for each player, we need to provide a boolean value to set this captain field. We can make our immutable properties more flexible by using the init accessor. To create an init-only property, we just need to use an init keyword instead of the set keyword. So, in the isCaptain property, let's put the init keyword, and inside its block, we can simply set the assigned value to the isCaptain. As a result, now, there is no need for a constructor to initialize the isCaptain property. So, let's remove this constructor, and also, let's remove the boolean values to resolve these errors. Okay, let's discuss how we can set the desired value for the isCaptain property. As we mentioned earlier, for all players except one, the value of the isCaptain property is false. So, we can initially assign a default value of false to the isCaptain property, and then change the value of isCaptain for one specific player. However, since the default value of boolean types in C# is already false, there is no need to explicitly assign it. Okay, now let's focus on setting the isCaptain value for a specific player, for instance, player 1. If we try to change it directly to true, we'll get an error message saying that we can only assign a value to an init-only property in an object initializer, constructor, or init accessor. Okay, let's use object initializers to make the player object. With object initializers, we can easily set values for an object's fields or properties when we create it, without having to call a constructor directly. In the upcoming lectures, we'll cover object initializers in detail. Okay, to create an object initializer, we just use curly braces right after the parentheses. Now let's set isCaptain to true. As you can see, our implementation in the program and player classes is more flexible and easier to read, and compared to before, we only set a value for one of these players. Actually, let's declare another init-only property, and also let's add some validation to the assigned value. In the init block, let's check if the value is equal to or less than 0. If the value meets this condition, we'll display an error message. Otherwise, we'll simply assign the value to the ID field. Okay, now let's assign an invalid value to the ID property. Next, run the application. As you can see, an error message is printed. Alright, based on our discussion, both init-only and read-only properties are considered immutable. This means they can only be assigned a value during object initialization and cannot be modified afterward. The key difference between them lies in their assignment flexibility. A read-only property can only be assigned a value within the constructor, whereas an init-only property can be assigned a value not only within the constructor, but also in the init accessor and through object initializers. Typically, we declare a read-only property using only the get accessor. However, for an init-only property, we declare it using both the get and init accessors. Before setting a value for an init-only property, we can do extra things like validation inside the init block. Okay, done. See you soon with another lecture.